Today, I'm announcing a petition with the Supreme Court of Florida to impanel a statewide grand jury to investigate any and all wrongdoing in Florida with respect to COVID-19 vaccines. And we anticipate that we will get the approval for that. That will be something that will be impaneled, most likely in the Tampa Bay area, and that will come with legal processes that will be able to get more information and to bring legal accountability for those who committed misconduct. The second announcement I'll let Joe Ladapo go a little bit more in detail on, but we want to build off the work he's done by increasing surveillance and research of adverse impacts from the COVID-19 shots. So you want to talk about what you guys are going to do?
Yeah, so recently, and I have Tracy here to thank for this. She shared with me a study that was published in Clinical Research in Cardiology. And it was a study from a German university. And what these people did was something that should have been done a long time ago, but we've already discussed how much scientific dishonesty and media dishonesty there's been around COVID-19 vaccines. And I'll add that the governor's point about the involvement of the pharmaceutical industry, it's an excellent one, because our media has clearly demonstrated that it is impossible to report accurately on something if you're also taking money from that same something. So what these researchers did was they performed autopsies on individuals who died suddenly, unexpectedly, without any known explanation, any known acute illness, within a few weeks of COVID-19 vaccination. And they published their results. And what they found was in the group of people they looked at, 4 out of 35 people who they looked at actually had myocarditis. And it was a type of myocarditis that was different from the typical types of myocarditis which you can get from viruses, many different types of viruses. And specifically, it was a type of myocarditis that they attributed to mRNA COVID-19 vaccines. It is important to know that these people died at home suddenly. So all of the studies that you see about myocarditis, and Tracy raised this point, they are not included in these studies because these people did not show up at hospitals or emergency departments with chest pain or shortness of breath or other symptoms that would lead to a diagnosis of myocarditis. These are people who are not counted in any of those estimates that the CDC likes to pretend are accurate. So we are initiating a program here in Florida where we will be studying the incidence in surveillance of myocarditis within a few weeks of COVID-19 vaccination for people who die. This is going to be a surveillance study working with some of our medical examiners in Florida. We're also going to be working with the University of Florida, so there will be a component that has more of a research form to it. But we will answer this question. It is a question that I'm sure keeps the CEOs of Pfizer and Moderna up late at night, hoping no one ever looks, but we're going to look here in Florida.
Great, and we look forward to that. And then finally, and this is exciting, we've seen over the past few years really the bankruptcy of the public health establishment. You know, we've seen a lot of ridiculous partisanship. I mean, I'll never forget that after hectoring people in April of 2020, you can't leave your house. They were all upset at Florida because people were on the beach and playing golf and all this stuff, that if you left your house, you were almost like a bad person until you started to have George Floyd protests. And you had massive numbers of people that are meeting to protest. And these public health people wrote a letter where like hundreds, maybe thousands of them signed saying, yes, we don't think you should be leaving your house normally, but we endorse the protests, and basically said that it was important that people went out, even in big groups, and protested. And then they said in the letter that does not mean they support protests for other things, like people that wanted to protest lockdowns. And so if that just didn't take the mask off and just show, that this is all just a huge political farce, I don't know what is. But the reality is, even this in May of June of 2020, I think you've continued to see people in these bureaucracies and in this establishment behave in ways that have totally squandered any type of confidence or goodwill that people would have. And our CDC at this point, anything they put out, you just assume at this point that it's not worth the paper that it's printed on. And so it's not serving a useful function. It's really serving to advance narratives rather than do evidence-based medicine. And so in Florida, the Surgeon General actually has the ability to convene panels of experts to do various things. And so we thought it was important, particularly me talking with other governors, to say, okay, because CDC will say these things, and then people will think, well, because they're saying it, then we have to do it. And maybe not quite as much anymore because people have lost confidence, but you still see it. We had to fight it with the masking in the schools because the school districts were citing CDC as the reason why they wanted to do it. We had to come and overrule that, but it was difficult because they were being put as an authority, and some people were doing that. So other governors and I have talked about the need to have a panel of experts who can counteract nonsense when it's coming out of these institutions, that are not going to just go along with the flow and follow pre-cooked narratives, but will actually do evidence-based analysis. And so in Florida, we're creating what we're calling the Public Health Integrity Committee. It's a committee of expert researchers that will be able to assess recommendations and guidance related to public health and healthcare, but particularly being able to offer critical assessments of things that bureaucracies like the FDA, CDC, and NIH are doing. We know that there's been a lot of faith destroyed in public health. And I think that it's important that we have folks who people actually can rely on when they're looking to answers and when they're looking for guidance on some of these really, really important issues. The people we have today, Bhattacharya, Kaldorf, Hogue, Freeman, Christine Stable-Ben, Weinstein, Templeton, are all going to be on this panel. And so I think you're going to see a lot of other states are going to join with us to be able to work. And so it's not just going to be helping Florida, it's going to be helping people all throughout the United States of America. And you see now in some of these enclaves, they're talking about masking again. They're talking about masking for flu and RSV. And it's like, we're just not going to put up with this in Florida, and we want to continue to fight back. So,
if you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to our channel so you'll be sure to see similar videos from Blaze TV with the added bonus of signaling YouTube that your voice and opinion still matters. And if you're looking for more great conservative content, check out one of the 2 videos suggested here.